The story began at a station outside Dehradun, where 3 thugs beat a sleeping man unconscious. Biffa and his gang always only robbed for money. They didn't take lives. But the man they found today turned out to be a poor person. They rummaged through his entire suitcase, but apart from an old radio, there was nothing valuable inside. The man's poverty forced even these rule-following robbers to consider killing him. They hit the man hard on the head once more and left without a care for him. However, no one had thought that this blow from the robber would prove fortunate for the man instead of killing him, and would mark the beginning of a happy life for him. A long time later, the unconscious man was awakened by the need to urinate. He staggered to the station toilet, but then fainted again due to blood loss. A security guard saw him and immediately called for help. By the time the man was taken to the hospital, his condition had become critical. The doctors tried to save his life, but eventually, his heart stopped beating. The doctor declared the patient dead, but after everyone had left, the man miraculously sat up. He straightened his broken nose and then walked out of the hospital on his own. The next day, people found him collapsed on the beach. A beggar had stolen his shoes, but fortunately, the man wasn't dead yet. 2 young boys saw him, and then the boy's father, Lavbai, took him home and saved him. Lavbai, his savior, was a poor man who lived with his family in an old container and didn't even have enough to eat. Seeing the man's serious injuries, Lavbai asked his wife to make a bowl of porridge for him. Although no one knew anything about the stranger, this kind-hearted couple decided they would only let him go after he had recovered. After a few days of care from Lavbai's wife, the man gradually began to regain consciousness. He could talk and smoke, but he had no memory of his past. He didn't even remember his own name. He had become an amnesiac. One day, returning home from work, Lavbai suddenly became very excited. He put on a clean suit and said he would take the man out to eat. The man was very happy and followed him, jumping and skipping. But upon arriving at the place, they found that eating out, according to Lavbai, meant going to get free relief food. It was actually the local welfare organization's weekly Friday charity event. Perhaps the man's face was very unfamiliar, because when he went to get food, a female staff member of the organization stared at him for a long time. After eating, Lavbai took the man to a bar. It was his payday. He ordered 2 beers so he could drink well with the man, but found that the man had no interest in alcohol. Looking at the man's calloused hands, Lavbai guessed he used to do physical labor. On the way back, Lavbai had probably drunk too much and picked up a stick, wanting to reenact the scene to bring back the man's memory. Perhaps scared by Lavbai's behavior, the man decided not to go back that night. He went alone to the seaside and sat there all night. And the next day, a local security guard found him. The security guard informed the man that this was a private sea area, and that if he wasn't a local resident, fishing here was an offense punishable by jail. When he saw that the man couldn't state his identity, he gave him 2 options. One option was to go into custody with him and cooperate with the investigation. The second option was to rent his seaside house for 400 rupees a month. Man unhesitatingly chose the second option. But upon entering the room, he found that what was called a seaside house was actually a container. The security guard gave him a week's time to arrange the rent. And if he didn't pay on time, he would release the ferocious dog to eat him. Although this was quite harsh, at least the man had a place to stay. The next day, he cleaned the room thoroughly. Lavbai called an electrician friend to connect wires for him, and also gave him some furniture he didn't use himself. After arranging everything, the man even planted potatoes by the door. It was clear he was planning to settle there permanently. Friday came again, and this time, after getting the relief food, the man took the initiative to talk to the female staff member, Emma. Their conversation went quite well. The man learned her name was Emma, and she gave him the address of her organization. She told him that if he had any trouble, he could come to the organization to meet her. The woman's kindness gave the man a sudden hope for the future. He tore off the bandage from his head in one jerk and decided to look for a job. But to search for a job, he needed to fill out a biodata form, and he knew nothing about his past. He didn't even know his own name, which caused trouble for the Employment Service Center employee. After being refused, the disappointed man went to the organization at the address given by the female employee. He told Emma about his situation, and Emma chose suitable clothes for him and then spoke to her manager to arrange a job for him at the organization. The salary for the new job wasn't high, but at least it was some income. At night, the security guard came to collect the rent. He had brought his so-called ferocious dog with him. But the man had just gotten the job and couldn't pay the rent. The security guard unleashed the dog's chain so it could bite him. But this dog was clearly a pet, and after failing to intimidate him, the security guard decided to take action himself. The man saw this and immediately begged the security guard for a week's extension. He had a job now. He would get his salary next week. The inspection officer reluctantly agreed, but put a condition that the man had to look after his dog for a month. "I'm here to give you orders." Honeymoon. Soon, it was the next Friday. After a week of hard work, the man finally received his first salary. Although it was less than the regular employee's wages there, it was enough to pay the rent. To express his gratitude for Emma's help, he intentionally waited there late that night. And only after Emma got off work did he step forward to express his thanks. When he learned that Emma had to walk home alone at night, he offered to drop her home. Faced with the man's good intentions, Emma was a little hesitant at first, but eventually agreed. During the conversation, they soon reached Emma's doorstep. Emma thanked the man for the security he provided today. But just as they were about to part, the man started his move. In other words, side effects of this: Corinthian of Titan. What? Now many casinos. And don't disappoint me. I don't know what's on the menu. Although this move was old, Emma, who had been single for over 40 years, was encountering it for the first time. I don't know how this happened, and all of Smith's premises. Although she also liked this man in return, she was clearly not ready for it at this time. After they parted, Emma went home and started practicing applying makeup. And the man, seizing the opportunity from the last time, invited Emma to his home for dinner. This time, he specifically bought steak. But because he didn't know how to cook, he mistakenly added too much salt. Even though the dinner failed, that night the feelings between them grew and they successfully established a relationship. Soon, the potatoes outside the man's door sprouted. Life seemed to be heading in a good direction, until one day he accidentally saw welding sparks burning on the other side of the dock. A feeling of deep familiarity compelled him to go closer involuntarily. He asked the contractor to let him try. He was surprised that he actually knew the essence of this skill. Weld done. The foreman saw this and immediately invited the man to join his company. He offered a much higher salary, but to receive this salary, he needed a bank account. So the man went to the bank to open an account as instructed by the company supervisor. He had only been inside for a short while when suddenly an armed uncle stormed in. The uncle had come to rob, but not like other robbers. He wore no mask and didn't rob much. He demanded only 247,600 rupees, not a paisa more. After taking the money, the uncle locked the man and Logan in the vault. Soon the alarm sounded, and both were taken to the police station to assist in the investigation because Logan had filed a report. He was soon released. However, the man was detained because he didn't know his name. Although many signs indicated he hadn't participated in the crime, the man was still sentenced to 3 months in prison for not cooperating with the investigation. Losing his memory had truly become a crime. Just as he was feeling uncertain, a lawyer suddenly entered. It was Emma, who, upon learning of the man's situation, had specially called a defense lawyer for him. Although with the lawyer's help the man was ultimately proven innocent, the fact that he couldn't remember his past didn't make him happy. At night, he went to a bar alone to drown his sorrows. But there he found the bank robber uncle. When the uncle learned about the inconvenience caused to the man, he apologized and told his story. He wasn't actually a professional robber, but the owner of a construction company who had been cheated by this bank. A few days prior, due to failed investments, he couldn't repay a loan, and the bank forcibly seized all his machinery. They bought it from him at an excessively low price and then sold it at 3 times the price, making the uncle feel cheated. Burning with anger, he decided to go to the bank and take back his loss. After saying all this, the uncle asked the man for one more favor. Both went to his house, and the uncle handed over all the money robbed that day to the man. It turned out he hadn't robbed this money for himself. Since his company went bankrupt, he hadn't paid his workers' salaries for months. He wanted to settle this account now, but felt uncomfortable facing the workers. He pleaded for the man's help and said he would also give him some money as a commission. He had already classified the workers' companies and addresses. After understanding the root of the matter, the man accepted this task. However, he had only gone a short distance when a gunshot was suddenly heard from the room. The uncle had committed suicide. He didn't want to live in hiding anymore. Although the person who gave the commission was dead, the man still kept his promise and gave the salary provided by the uncle to the workers. After finishing this work, he returned to his residence, exhausted. However, a little while later, the local police knocked on his door. His identity had been verified. His name was Jack, a famous welder from another province. He had a wife and family. But the strange thing was, he had been missing for so many days, yet his wife hadn't reported it to the police. With this suspicion, the man decided to go back and see. The night before leaving, he met Emma again. Although she knew this might be their last meeting, Emma was very generous. She bought the man's ticket, packed his luggage, and even made a sandwich for him early the next morning. With a heavy heart, the man set off on the journey home. According to the address provided by the police, he arrived in front of a villa, and the door was opened by a young woman. Although many months had passed without meeting, Jack understood from the lack of any joy on the woman's face. After some conversation, Jack learned that this woman was his legal wife, but the marital relationship between them had long been over. Because the previous Jack was fond of gambling and alcohol, after some sharp fights, the couple had started living separately. Although they hadn't divorced, they had started their new lives separately. Jack had settled in the south, and his wife had also started her new family. While they were talking, the wife's current boyfriend returned. Seeing the ex-husband suddenly at the door, the boyfriend suggested confronting Jack. But Jack felt it was unnecessary. Their marriage was already over, and his only wish was for the boyfriend to treat his ex-wife well, because they had once loved each other. After saying goodbye to his wife, Jack caught a train heading south. His harvested potatoes are there. His waiting girlfriend is there. The name of this film is No Past Man, but it's actually the story of a middle-aged man who gains a new life after losing his memory. The previous Jack was perhaps addicted to alcohol and gambling, but none of the bad parts of his past matter anymore, starting from seeing life positively now. The past holds no importance. If you have goodness in your heart and live life with hard work, a new life will surely come. Thank you for watching the full video. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.